This week, Nike runs straight into some controversy. Facebook is all up in your business, and ChatGPT is taking your coffee order. Hey, Carnies, and welcome back to the Daily Carnage Show. I'm Shannon. I'm a digital marketing strategist at Carney, and I'm your host. So grab your AI-free cappuccino, and let's get started. Nike tried to motivate its runners, but accidentally gave its competitors the best ad opportunity of the year. So ahead of this year's Boston Marathon, Nike puts up a storefront sign that says, "Runners welcome, walkers tolerated." And the message is obviously intended to be provocative, but it immediately draws widespread criticism for being exclusionary. So in the running community, I'm told, this is called pace shaming. Runners, influencers, disability advocates all argue that the ethos of marathon culture is just finishing. It's a big deal to set out to do something and complete it. A good tagline for this ethos might be something like, I don't know, top of the head, just do it. So Nike removes the original sign and replaces it with a new sign that says movement is what matters. But as we know, this is a case of too little too late because rival brands have already moved to capitalize on the controversy. Ultra launches messaging that says run, walk, crawl, and they pair it with a pretty pointed social caption that said go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Meanwhile, ASICS places billboards in Boston that say runners, walkers, all welcome. At this point, everybody is using Nike to position themselves positively. I think the most interesting case of this is Echo. Echo designs walking shoes, and their CMO, Ezra Martin, said, "You wouldn't expect walking to be a part of the marathon conversation, but because of Nike's ad, walking turned into a cultural conversation." Echo posted billboards throughout Boston that said, "No run intended, walk your walk." They also gave away 100 pairs of sneakers to everyday walkers and marathon spectators, and they also hosted en route cheering stations, effectively turning this opportunity into a larger experience for the brand and fans. In this case, Echo walked straight into gold. Meanwhile, Nike continues to lean into this more intense, performance-driven brand identity. And while we know exclusivity does work for some brands, it seems the consensus was people were looking to Nike for accessibility and community. But this is a great example that it's important to be aware that as soon as you draw that line in the sand or close a door to a certain demographic, a slew of competitors will rush in to open theirs. Safe to say that in the Boston Marathon this year, Nike finished last. ChatGPT ads are getting cheaper by the week. So what does that mean for the rest of us? OpenAI's ad business is shifting quickly from a high-priced experiment to something that looks a little bit more like a scaled performance channel. Ads first launched earlier this year, and off the bat, they were priced as premium inventory. We're talking $60 CPM with minimum commitments as high as $250,000. And that effectively limited the pool to large brands who were okay with testing a completely unproven channel. Well, we're in a new era of ChatGPT ads now. CPMs have dropped sharply in a matter of weeks, with reports saying we're down to anywhere from $15 to $25. The barrier of entry is now lowering too, with minimum spends coming down to around $50,000. So with prices falling and access widening, it would suggest that OpenAI is moving out of controlled testing into scaling ChatGPT ads. This week, they started rolling out cost per click advertising, allowing advertisers to pay per engagement rather than impressions. And early data shows those cost per click bids anywhere between $3 and $5. They're also in the process of developing their own conversion tracking tools like a pixel to help advertisers understand whether clicks actually lead to conversions. But ChatGPT ads are still largely experimental. We're just moving toward a cheaper, more accessible phase. You're going to see more advertisers start to flood the pool and inventory expand. It looks like everything is on track to grow into a mature ad ecosystem. And of course, we're keeping you posted because it looks like we're all going to have to start writing ChatGPT ads sooner than later. People are still taking photos, but they're not posting them. But don't worry, Facebook has come up with the creepiest solution ever. Facebook is rolling out a new AI feature in Europe and the UK that allows users to opt into, quote, camera roll suggestions. And this is a tool that scans photos and videos that are stored on your personal device and turns them into suggested posts and carousels and collages and edits. And this is supposed to get you to share more. Essentially, it analyzes your camera roll to find what it calls, quote, standout moments, and then it packages them into ready-to-share content that appears privately in your feed. It's basically turning your camera roll into a content pipeline. For now, Facebook clarifies that your camera roll content isn't used for ad targeting or AI training, and to their credit, they usually roll these things out by default, but this is an opt-in feature. But this is absolutely an invasive feature, blurring the line between private and public data in order to keep the content machine of these platforms moving. Automating this process of posting to your Facebook feed doesn't solve the problem of why people aren't posting. I don't think people stopped making content out of their lives because it's too hard or because they ran out of ideas. I think the problem is a fundamental lack of joy. Most of what you see on Facebook is certifiably fake news and AI slop and ads. There's no guarantee that what you post will actually be seen and appreciated and engaged with by your friends and family. And Meta has slowly kind of eroded its relationships with users. A lot of people feel like they can't leave these platforms, but they want to. And so many users are in a holding pattern of just sort of consuming content passively. In our case, taking care of work, checking in on Facebook groups, interacting with friends and family in the DMs, and then just kind of ducking out. Do I think that this camera roll feature will be a success? No. I think we'll get some funny screenshots of, Facebook suggesting that you post a carousel of your great aunt's funeral. Rest in peace. But it's a flop waiting to happen because it fundamentally misunderstands the problem. You just can't automate connection. Okay, who remembers DeviantArt? It's a legacy online art community that was launched in 2000. It's been declining for years, but this week TubeFilter reported that DeviantArt might just live to see another day. The platform claims that it's been seeing expanded user activity and stronger engagement metrics, and even more monetization for artists. They say artist earnings have reached the tens of millions of dollars. And this optimism comes after a pretty turbulent period for DeviantArt. When this AI wave started, the platform became overrun with AI-generated art and bot activity. It was dominating feeds and search results and the monetization channels that are meant for human artists. And artists who had stuck with the legacy platform for many years were rightly upset. But instead of adopting a human-first, artist-first brand identity, DeviantArt leaned into the AI. They launched an AI image generator called DreamUp, and they framed it as creating AI art fairly. And they tempered this with systems for opt-ins and attribution, and controls that let artists decide whether or not their work could be used in training AI or inspiration workflows. Essentially, DeviantArt positioned itself as one of the first platforms trying to formally regulate consent inside of these Gen AI systems. Still, this decision really split the community in two. Fast forward to 2026, and that tension still hasn't disappeared. DeviantArt is an interesting case study. It calls into question whether a platform can kind of have its cake and eat it too. Can you sustain AI and human communities at the same time? The question is, has DeviantArt sold its soul to survive in the new world? Yes, it's seeing more users and more growth and more engagement, but in turn, it's distorting the visibility systems and exposure for real human artists. And it's really changing what people come to the platform for in the first place. It's no longer an artist community. It's like a mixed human AI creative network. In this way, it doesn't feel like it's renewed and refreshed and full of new life. It feels more like Frankenstein, like it's been reanimated in a really uncomfortable way. But we're still somewhere in the middle of this story, so we're gonna have to keep our eyes on DeviantArt and see how it goes and what lessons we can all learn from them. Is ChatGPT becoming the new drive-thru? Starbucks and Little Caesars are both experimenting with ChatGPT-powered ordering systems. So at Starbucks, that looks something like saying to ChatGPT, I want a cold drink, something not too sweet with a lot of caffeine. And then ChatGPT translates that into a customized beverage order. Similarly, at Little Caesars, you would say something like, I need a pizza for game night, and ChatGPT orders for you. The idea is being billed as faster ordering, fewer steps, less friction. But it represents a pretty big shift. Instead of choosing from a structured menu, we're asking customers to now describe outcomes that they want. Like everything, the primary interface is now conversational. Besides this being a little uncomfy for the user, for some users, for me, it feels like a little bit of a risk to move the customer out of the Starbucks interface and into ChatGPT, outsourcing ordering to a third-party AI system. AI is interpreting intent and structuring the order, and effectively it's functioning as the front counter. These are experiments, to be sure, but if they represent how things are moving, it would mean that brands wouldn't be competing with their app products. They would be competing based on how well they're understood by AI. But it makes sense why brands would be interested in this. Having users order with language prompts like, quote, quick lunch means that they're collecting just so much intent data, which they can then use for promotions and upselling, you name it. The question is how well it will be adopted and embraced by users. You know, a menu really is an illusion of choice, especially on any of these apps. You might argue the brand chooses your lunch for you already, but outsourcing self-care tasks to AI down to like, what am I going to eat for lunch today? It just feels irresponsible, like not only environmentally and socially, but like for the soul. What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? Ask ChatGPT what to put on your pizza? It's like we've already established there's like an ongoing media literacy problem, right? People don't know how to read a news article. And you're telling me in 5 years, people won't know how to read a menu? This is hard for me because I'm still recovering from QR code menus. I'm going to start a thread on our subreddit and you can let us know if you would use ChatGPT to order your lunch or your coffee order and why. It's a safe space for all thoughts, feelings, concerns, and guttural noises. So I'll see you over there. But it is finally time for an ad from the past. And I thought it would be fun, speaking of Nike, if we watched their 1984 I Love LA ad with an assist from Randy Newman.
Rolling down Imperial Highway. Straight out of my side, Santa Ana winds blowing hot from the north. We were born to ride. From the side to the valley, from the west side to the east side. Everybody very happy, 'cause the sun is shining all the time. It's like another perfect day. I love LA.
LA's hottest ad has everything: bikinis, beaches, sports cars, a lot of billboards. Randy Newman. This ad was to promote the Summer Olympics in LA, but now it's just a really nice time capsule. Can we go to LA 1984? Not a phone in sight, not a single fitness tracker. Romanticizing 1984 is bananas, but hey, that's where we're at. And that wraps it up this week for the Daily Carnage Show. Thanks so much for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe across all our social channels. And of course, don't forget, we send out a daily newsletter, The Daily Carnage, every day of the work week to keep you the sharpest marketer in the room. Have a good one, Carnies, and I'll see you in the inbox.